I saw somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine. And it hurt just confidence. You can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair. Like, she's a performer. It's crazy though, just because her shot is like that. It's at that level. If you really watch, like, her floor game is as impressive. So it's kind of the total package.
For weeks, Caitlin Clark was getting hammered on the court while the WNBA sat back and stayed silent. Fans were furious. Analysts kept dancing around the truth, but then, boom! The silence was broken. And it wasn't by the WNBA. It was the NBA's biggest names stepping in, and they didn't hold back. Steph Curry, LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and more weren't just giving polite praise. They came out swinging. This wasn't PR talk. This was raw, real emotion. Steph especially had enough. He saw the elbows, the hard fouls, the lack of calls. And when he finally spoke, the whole basketball world felt it. When a superstar like Curry straight up says Caitlin Clark shouldn't be treated like a punching bag, everybody pays attention. And suddenly, the WNBA couldn't hide behind silence anymore. And Steph wasn't the only one. At least half a dozen NBA All-Stars went on record making it clear Caitlin Clark isn't some short-term hype machine. She's elite. She's the real deal. And they flat out said it's unacceptable how she's being targeted. So what exactly did they say? Let's get into the unfiltered word-for-word reactions from the NBA's biggest stars. And trust me, some of their comments will shock you. Normally, NBA players only hype up their own guys, but this time the spotlight shifted. Take Pascal Siakam, for example. Smooth, steady, an all-star, a champion, he was asked a simple question about which player gets the most love. Easy question, right? Everyone expected a safe NBA answer. Maybe he'd name an MVP candidate or someone on his own team. But out of nowhere, he dropped Caitlin Clark's name, and he didn't just toss it in as a polite nod.
Oh man, Caitlin she's a beast, man. Like, and they love her. So I'll probably say Caitlin Clark. I love Tyrese, but she's another level in terms of just love.
No, Pascal compared Caitlin to actual NBA players. He put her name next to Tyrese Halliburton, his own teammate and one of the flashiest point guards in the league. He flat out admitted Caitlin was the one getting the most love. Think about that. He could have said anybody, but he chose her. That's not just respect, that's a reality check. This isn't about women's basketball over here and men's basketball over there. Caitlin has broken right through that wall, and when NBA stars themselves acknowledge it, that's a cultural shift. Pascal didn't have to say it, but he did. And that's how you know her impact is too big to ignore. And then there's Obi Toppin. Now, Obi isn't exactly known for long speeches or dramatic quotes, but maybe that's why his words about Caitlin hit harder. They weren't scripted, they weren't polished, they were raw. Obi's game is built on energy and swagger, but when he spoke about Caitlin Clark, his tone changed. It wasn't just respect, it was admiration. The kind of admiration you give to someone who's doing more than just putting up numbers. He sees her as an equal, not an add-on, not lesser. Just a hooper, period. That's powerful. Because when NBA players treat you like you're one of them, that means you've already crossed into their world. And Caitlin Clark, she's not just being invited in, she's being celebrated. Courtside appearances aren't just celebrity cameos anymore. When she's there, NBA players actually care. They see her, they respect her, and they're saying it out loud for everyone to hear. This isn't just a headline, it's a turning point. Caitlin Clark is forcing the game to evolve, and the NBA's biggest stars are making sure the world knows it. When someone's your teammate, the lazy move is to throw out a cliche. She's great, I respect her game. Easy, safe, forgettable. But Tyrese Halliburton, he didn't play it safe. He didn't hype Caitlin Clark just because they share the same city or because it would look good in the press. His words came from real life, from actually knowing her and watching her fight through chaos every single day without blinking.
She's, I think for me, getting to actually spend time around her, be around her, get to know her personally, she's just an amazing person, an amazing player. She deals with a lot of There's a lot of rhetoric behind her that she really has no control over. And I think that the way she handles that is just amazing. Like, I think when it comes to the game of basketball, like, she's probably top 5 most famous people that are playing right now, just in general. That includes our league as well.
Top 5 most famous, period. That's Tyrese Haliburton, an NBA All-Star, putting Caitlin Clark in the same category as LeBron, Steph, and Jokic. And he wasn't exaggerating. He sees the numbers, the headlines, the obsession, the nonstop fan hysteria. Tyrese knows exactly what it feels like to be the face of a franchise. And still, he admits Caitlin is carrying an even heavier load, and she's only a sophomore. But here's what people missed in his quote: the empathy. He wasn't just standing up for Caitlin as a player, he was standing up for her as a person. Tyrese sees the hate, the cheap shots, the pressure she didn't ask for, and he wanted the world to know she's more than ready. That's not hype, that's family-level respect. And then came LeBron James. When LeBron speaks, the sports world stops. Every pause is studied, every word becomes gospel. So when he decided to speak up about Caitlin Clark, it wasn't a throwaway comment. It was an endorsement so loud it shook the conversation across all of basketball.
Because everybody is looking for you to say anything, and they're gonna splice it and cut it and make it a negative thing. And I think for her, the one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. More people want to tune in. I saw for the first time that they had a chartered plane for the first time in their league history. They flew private. That should be celebrated in its own right.
This wasn't just LeBron showing love, it was LeBron defending progress itself. He's seen what she carries, the weight of media storms, the culture shift she's driving, and the reality of being the reason a league gets charter flights. That's not hype, that's history. LeBron knows that pressure all too well. He's lived with the target on his back for 2 decades, and maybe that's why he respects Caitlin so much. He sees himself in her. She didn't just earn his fan stamp, she earned his respect. And that kind of respect, that's priceless. Then Trae Young jumped in. Trae doesn't lack confidence. He'll pull up from half court and dare you to stop him. So when Trae mentioned Caitlin, everyone expected jokes or playful banter. But what came out was admiration, real admiration. He wasn't mocking, he wasn't patronizing, he was acknowledging greatness. Trae even suggested a 3-point contest with her.
You were hype about Steph and Sabrina. I know that you have spoken about Caitlin Clark. You're a big Caitlin Clark fan.
Oh, yeah.
She, of course, is an excellent shooter. Would you ever do like a Caitlin Trae 3-point contest at All-Star?
Of course I would. I've gotten to talk to her too throughout her college years. We're the only 2 people that ever led college in points and assists. That's a crazy stat. I'd have to definitely practice a lot more than I have for these previous 3-point competitions. Nah, I'd be ready for sure. I'd do it.
Think about that. One of the most hyped shooters in the NBA, basically saying Caitlin Clark is his peer. And here's the stat that makes it hit even harder. Only 2 players in NCAA history have led the nation in both points and assists in the same season. 2 total. And Caitlin's one of them. That's legendary status. Trae admitted he'd have to get his reps up to keep up with her. Coming from him, that's the ultimate badge of respect. Caitlin isn't just in the conversation anymore. She is the conversation. But then came Paul George with the most thoughtful, layered take of them all. PG isn't a guy who talks for clout. When he speaks, it's perspective. And when it came to Caitlin Clark, he went deeper than anyone expected.
You gotta put it in perspective, right? These girls have been grinding to grow the game of basketball in the WNBA. They've been grinding to grow the sport to the world, the viewerships. They've been grinding for all of this. And then you have this girl that comes along from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league. There's going to be girls that are offended by it.
Instead of talking about her highlights or her viral moments, he zoomed out. He talked about the emotional weight of this entire shift in women's basketball. Paul George said what a lot of people avoid. Caitlin's rise is real, it's earned, but it also stings for the vets who built the foundation. The women who played in empty arenas, fought for charter flights, hustled without media cameras in their faces. They didn't get the perks Caitlin's getting now. That reality creates tension, even if Caitlin did nothing wrong. PG wasn't bashing her, he was humanizing the resentment. By calling her an instant change, he acknowledged her greatness, while also reminding us that progress has a price. And that perspective, that's bigger than stats. It's culture-shifting truth. And finally, Luka Doncic. Luka doesn't sugarcoat, doesn't polish, doesn't fake it. He says exactly what he thinks, straight up. So when he got asked about women's basketball and Caitlin Clark, there was no hesitation, no scripted PR line, just Luka, raw and unfiltered. And that made his words carry even more weight.
Your favorite women's basketball player?
Caitlin Clark.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like Paige Buchers?
She's okay. I didn't see her playing the women's NBA, so.
Caitlin Clark isn't just part of the conversation anymore. She's forcing NBA stars to rewrite the conversation. And the fact they're lining up to defend her? That's proof her impact is too big to deny. Luka Doncic said it straight. No fluff, no hesitation. Who's your favorite women's basketball player? His answer? Caitlin Clark. Really? Yeah, you know, like Paige Buchers. That pause, that pivot, it wasn't shade. It was standard setting. Luka wasn't dismissing Paige at all. He was drawing a line in the sand. Caitlin is doing it right now, at the pro level, under fire every night, and still delivering. She's not just living off college hype or March Madness clips. She's in the trenches, taking hard fouls, dishing dimes, and still dominating. That's why Luka's answer hit different. He knows how hard it is to go from college phenom to pro reality, and in his eyes, Caitlin already passed that test. That wasn't just a compliment, it was confirmation. Luka sees her as a peer, a real one, not some token shout-out. And then Steph Curry stepped into the conversation, and that changed everything. Steph doesn't just throw around praise. When he finally spoke up about Caitlin Clark, it wasn't just support. It was a warning shot to the entire league. He'd watched the fouls, the cheap hits, the silence, and he decided enough was enough.
I saw somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine. And it hurt just confidence. You can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair. Like, she's a performer. It's crazy though, just because her shot is like that. It's at that level. If you really watch, like, her floor game is as impressive. So it's kind of the total package.
Steph broke down Caitlin's game in detail only he could give. Her limitless range, her timing, her fearlessness. And then he dropped the line that sent shockwaves. Her shot reminded him of himself. Let that sink in. The greatest shooter in NBA history saying Caitlin Clark's shot is on his level. That's not hype, that's legacy talk. But Steph didn't stop there. He called her a performer. He talked about the floor game, the vision, the passing, the poise that casual fans overlook. He made it clear. Caitlin's not just a shooter. She's the total package. And when Steph Curry, the man who changed basketball forever, calls you that, that's a passing of the torch moment. But while some NBA stars gave her the crown, others revealed the ugly side of this story. Enter Jason Tatum. He was asked the easiest softball question. Who's your favorite WNBA player? All he had to do was show love, acknowledge the face of the league, recognize the woman dragging the WNBA into the mainstream, but what did he say? Aja Wilson. That's it. No context, no explanation, nothing. Just a flat brush off. Now, Aja Wilson is elite, a champion, dominant, respected. This isn't about taking anything away from her, but Tatum ignoring Caitlin Clark completely? That wasn't neutral. It was loud silence. The biggest rising star in basketball, the player single-handedly breaking records, carrying ratings, putting the WNBA on private flights. And Jason Tatum acted like she didn't exist. That's not just disappointing, it's disgraceful. Caitlin's not begging for fake love. She's earning it every single night. She's been fouled, mocked, excluded from Team USA, dragged by media narratives, and still shows up with grace. And after all of that, Tatum couldn't even say her name. Whether intentional or not, his answer sent a message. I see what you're doing, and I don't care. That's the kind of subtle, cold disrespect she's been facing all year, even from stars she's inspiring. And then came Kevin Durant, the man with the biggest microphone in basketball. KD knows the weight of every word he drops. So when he was asked to name his favorite female athlete, All eyes waited for one name, Caitlin Clark. Instead, he named someone else. No hesitation, no build-up, just a one-word answer. That wasn't an accident, that was a choice. KD knows Caitlin's been the story of the year, selling out arenas, breaking records, pulling millions of viewers into the WNBA. She survived hard fouls, public criticism, Olympic snubs, and still carried herself with class. And yet, KD chose not to say her name. That's the battle Caitlin Clark is fighting. She has the biggest stars in the game praising her as the future, while others with just as much influence act like she doesn't exist. And that silent resistance? That's what makes her rise even more powerful. She's forcing them all to pick a side, and not everyone's brave enough to say her name out loud. She's doing things no one has ever done before, and that's exactly why Kevin Durant's move stung so badly. He didn't just skip over Caitlin Clark, he went out of his way to shine a light on her biggest media rival. That's not support, that's a slap in the face. Angel Reese is fine, no one's denying her talent, but let's be real. When Caitlin's the one carrying the WNBA on her back night after night, how do you ignore her and then deliberately pick the player who's thrown her the most shade? That wasn't innocent, it was a choice, a power play. And the message was loud, I'm not with her. How dare he? Angel Reese can't touch Caitlin's impact, and KD knows exactly how the media works. By choosing her name instead of Caitlin's, he didn't just sidestep the biggest star in basketball, he undercut her. And when a player as influential as Durant does that, the ripple effect is huge. It reinforces the exact wall Caitlin's been pushing against since day one. Because let's be real, if you're not helping lift her up when she's carrying this much weight, then yeah, you're part of the problem. But here's the twist, this isn't just noise anymore. The way NBA stars are talking, uncensored, emotional, raw, it means something real is happening. Caitlin Clark hasn't just started conversations. She's forcing the entire league to get uncomfortable in the best way. She's the spark. She's the pressure point. She's the one making people pick sides instead of hiding behind safe answers. Pascal Siakam flat out admitted she's more loved than his own teammate. Steph Curry said her game reminds him of himself, the ultimate compliment. LeBron James called out her impact on the culture, from chartered flights to sold-out arenas. Tyrese Halliburton put her in the top 5 most famous names in the game right now, and that's not hype, that's fact. Luka Doncic chose her over Paige. Trae Young wants a shootout. Obi Toppin grinned like a fanboy. Paul George cut through the noise with 3 words. But then, there's the other side. Jason Tatum barely saying anything, and Kevin Durant making a choice that spoke louder than words. That's the reality. The NBA isn't unified on Caitlin Clark, and maybe that's the point. Greatness doesn't inspire neutrality, it forces reactions. Love her or resist her, Caitlin Clark has become the conversation. She's pulling NBA-level crowds, sparking NBA-level debates, and drawing NBA-level praise and hate. That's not hype anymore, that's legacy. And the wildest part? She's just getting started. So if you're ready for more breakdowns of the drama, the shade, and the legends weighing in, hit that subscribe button right now, and I'll see you in the next one.